Hello YouTube, aka Rachel. So I'm going to show you the foam roller snow angel stretch. This is a great stretch to open up the chest, the anterior deltoid, so the front part of your shoulders. Many of us have this poor posture where we have forward rounding in the shoulders, and that comes from being on our phones, head forward, shoulders rounded, just basically doing anything in front of us, reading a book, typing on the computer, even side sleeping, right? So many of us have a very forward posture, so that means weakness in the back side of the body, the rotator cuff, the muscles that pull the shoulders back, and that means tightness across the front here, the pecs, the front delts, everything that pulls us forward. So in the process of strengthening the back side of the body to pull everything up, we also need to create length and space in the front side of the body. So we will use a foam roller. You want one that's pretty long so that it can go down the length of your spine. And basically, very carefully, you will lay on your foam roller vertically. And I just got this foam roller and it's perfect. I'm so stoked. If your roller is long enough, you want your body to be supported from head to tailbone. Now, if you have a shorter foam roller, that is fine. What I would rather you do, so say mine was shorter, is to have the head supported and leave the tailbone off, but use your legs, use your glutes to scoop the hips up, keep neutral spine, and have everything still in alignment so that you're not like hanging off the bottom like that, all loosey-goosey. But if you have one that is long enough, then great. So we'll go ahead and get propped up here. And the stretch is basically this. So we're just giving ourselves some space between our body and the floor to let the arms hang down. Now, what your body is going to want to do, especially if you are really tight along the front of the chest or even in the biceps, that's where I feel this stretch the most, like along the bicep. Your body's going to want to kind of like get out of it. It'll do like some weird funky things like this, and we're going to fight that. So first things first, flattening the lower spine by tucking the pelvis under, tightening through the core, belly button to spine, so that our spine is neutral. And then also slightly tucking the chin so that this little nodule, like the base of the skull, where you can feel where your skull starts, you want to think about kind of lengthening through the back of the neck, tucking the chin like you're kind of making a double chin. It's not the cutest thing. To find a neutral neck. Now, we don't want to like over force it, but rather imagine there's like a string tied to the top of your head and it's pulling that way. It's pulling up, or up overhead at least. You can almost kind of even grab your hair, give yourself a little tug so you can kind of see how that would feel to think about length, right? Growing the neck away from the shoulders. Palms will be out facing up, and the shoulder blades are going to be wrapping down and back around the foam roller that's coming in between them. So you might have some compensation like this where the shoulders are kind of coming up and towards the ears they're kind of rounding forward here. Roll them back. Literally take a second to roll them down and back and out to the sides. My knees are bent, feet are flat. Goal here is to relax to the point where you can get your wrists and your elbows to touch the floor. And I'm just totally relaxed here. I'm not pressing down. I'm just letting gravity do the stretch for me. So as we relax into this position, we can kind of start inching our hands up overhead. And you'll find like about here is where I start to feel like, ooh, there's some tightness there. My shoulders really want to scrunch up here, so I'm really fighting to keep them down. I'm fighting to keep my ribs from flaring out and my back from arching. And I'm just trying to keep my hands, my wrists and my elbows close to the floor. Now here, all the way overhead, I have my wrists to the floor, but I've lost contact with my elbows. And that's fine. This is a pretty extended overhead position. If you do lose contact at some point, that's fine. Just find those points, that place where it's it gets really hard, you lose that contact, and just sit there. Just sit there, breathe, relax, and try to let the body settle so that some of that fight to push the arms down or some of that fight to keep the shoulders down starts to relax, and you can just kind of ease into that position as well. Now, as you make your way all the way overhead, slowly, we can kind of come back down and around and make some big circles here, like you're making a snow angel. All the while keeping at least the back of the hands and wrists close to the ground. One other thing I like to do with this one is in this overhead position, this is my most tight position. I like to take one hand and grab my wrist, and then so I'll grab my right wrist with my left hand, and I'll pull with my left hand to get my right hand a lot closer. And here I really find that my ribs want to flare. I might even be doing it right now, I don't know, it's hard to tell. But I really want to keep my core tight. And I feel more stretching along the lats here. I'll do both sides. And you just breathe. Keep those shoulders down. Don't be afraid to make little adjustments. Check in with each point of your body as you go into these different ranges of motion. To stretch into a bigger range of motion, then check in. Hips, core, ribs, shoulders, neck. Ooh, lost my neck there. I didn't even think about that one. All right. And then the last one I like to do while on the roller is to take cactus arms. So my elbows are bent at 90 degrees. And this is a lot more difficult. You can see here, I can't, just plain relaxing, my elbows don't even touch the ground. I can push them down, but I really have to squeeze my shoulder blades back and my ribs flare up a little bit. So we'll kind of just hold this one. Really feel it in front of the pecs. Check in, core, hips, neck. My left side especially is really tight here. And then here what I want you to do is stretch straight up overhead. And then squeeze the shoulder blades down, squeeze the elbows down around the foam, and then push back up. Think about kind of trying to slide your forearms and hands along the floor. Oh, this is tough on the left side for me, but that's my less mobile side, so it's good for me. Yeah, so this is kind of more of a reach, a big squeeze back, and reach. And then after you're all done, I'm just kind of roll over to the side and you're all set. You should feel pretty open